Good morning and welcome back to our garden. Today it's 12 weeks before our last freeze, so it means it's time to start some seeds in the basement to put out later into the garden. Today we're going to start 3 types of onions, plus we're going to direct sow 1 flower in the front pots, sweet alyssum. But first we need to feed the birds and the squirrels, so come on. Do you see that beautiful greens over there? Let's go ahead and harvest some of them. But we need the basket and a knife. Let's go get those supplies. While we're here, let's go ahead and grab a packet of soil. And let's put these yard waste bags out on the community shelf. This is where I share free plants and excess garden things with my neighbors. I really like to inspire other people to grow a beautiful garden. It gives me so much joy. Okay, we're going to go back to collect the greens, but first let's go in the front and sow those sweet alyssum seeds. Now, I could have started these in the basement, but I have such limited space, and sweet alyssum has done really well self-seeding. Here's some old ones. It also grows down here along the sidewalk. So we're going to try just sprinkling some seeds, and when the time is right and the temperature's right, they're going to come up themselves. And if they don't, that's okay. I also have a dwarf variety that I'm going to plant in these green stalks, but not today. I don't have the time to open up this netting. Okay, so we're going to harvest 2 of these beautiful Napa cabbages. And that's going to be enough. It looks really small right here in the garden, but I've made the mistake before of harvesting too much, and then I have this mountain of greens in the house that overwhelms me. So let's just get these 2. I'm going to use my favorite knife. It's really sharp. This is called a rice knife. Look at that. This survived 2 weeks of sub-freezing temperatures in the teens and the single digits. And it was protected by a tunnel, but covered in 1.5 feet of snow. It still amazes me to think that I can grow these kind of greens during the winter. It's just awesome. Okay, let's go down to the basement now and harvest some lettuce. So this lettuce is 10 weeks old. I started it back in November. And these have really outgrown their pots. Let me show you. See all these roots? And I've already harvested the outer leaves of these plants. And the middle's what's left. So I either need to put these into bigger pots or I need to start feeding them. They really started to suffer 2 weeks ago. I noticed the leaves were turning yellow. So I'm going to go ahead and harvest all of these. But the ones behind me, can you see those? Let me adjust the lighting here. Those I'm going to leave for now. So this is going to be enough for this week's salads. Let's bring them upstairs and get them in some water. Now another good reason to harvest these now is that the black seeded Simpson lettuce. Let me show you an example. Like this one here, it was wet. Those leaves are getting bitter. This variety has struggled the most growing here in the basement, but outside in the garden, it's really a powerhouse. But if we look at this variety here, look at all those roots. This is a butterhead, a butter type lettuce. I harvested some green ones. Those are still tender and sweet. That's done much better under the lights. But I'm going to try to get a few more weeks out of these heads behind me. Now these are my runts behind me. They were tiny because before I potted them up, they got shaded out by some bigger heads of lettuce. I've already harvested all the best heads of lettuce. And I'm going to compost all those pots of soil because they're only full of roots. Now this is our next batch of lettuce. It's only a week old. It's time to pot it up. Now the cold weather is back and the furnace is running, so I've gotten warm. Had to take off my long sleeve shirt. Maybe you hear the furnace running and hear the popping. This is an old historic house and we still have those old radiators and I absolutely love them. Now mentioning of loving something, why do I grow all this food? Lettuce in the basement, cabbage outside, working hard in the cold. Well, yes, I'm proud we've grown our own lettuce for the last 2 months and I like saving money, but those aren't my main reasons. My main why is I enjoy it. The garden or the grow room, this is my meditation. When life stresses and worries and distractions, they just fade away in the garden. Research does show gardening is good for your mental health. That's my number one reason, simply because I enjoy it. Now, key to keeping this enjoyable is documenting what's working for me, what gives me pleasure, what makes gardening easier, and what I struggle with, what I don't like, what causes me to have pain and feel overwhelmed, consumes my time. For example, the salad. I learned waiting 3 weeks to pot it up, that's just too much time, that's too long. The small lettuce heads suffered because they got shaded out from the light. I knew 3 weeks was too long, but I thought 2 weeks would be enough, but no. 1 week is perfect. Because look at the roots on these lettuces. So 1 week is just perfect, and I documented that on my phone. Potted up sooner than 3 weeks. Helps me not to feel stressed and feel overwhelmed or like I wasted my time. So what works for you, try to document that, and what doesn't work for you in the garden, then go review it and adjust how you work on your growing things. I also put down that they grow fast and get crowded really quickly. So limit one tray to only 6 pots. And I use these empty pots just to provide support. Okay, let's switch gears to talking about bulbing onions. I want to start them inside 10 to 12 weeks before our last frost. This is perfect. It's 12 weeks right now. And we're going to use the soil blocker and these 10 by 10 bootstrap farmer trays. So I can make 25 blocks fit in here. So we're going to start 3 varieties, and the first is a red, small, 2-inch Italian sweet onion. It's called flat Italian cipollone onion. It is an heirloom, and these are my own saved seeds. That's what's actually out there still in the garden. That's an intermediate day onion, and that means it needs 12 to 14 hours of sunlight in order to bulb up. And we can grow that here in north central Maryland. But this is a fast-growing 70-day onion, and it stores well. I still have some in the kitchen after 6 months. And I'm going to put several seeds in each soil block. Now we have 2 more varieties, and they're both long day onions, and that means they need 14 hours or more a day of sunlight. They grow well in the north, but we can grow them here too. They're both a sweet yellow onion, Walla Walla, and yellow Spanish sweet onion, Utah. Now, the Walla Walla takes about 125 days to mature, but it doesn't store well, so when I harvest them, I'm going to cut them up and freeze them. And the yellow Spanish takes about 130 days to mature, but those store well too, about 6 months, like those red onions. Now, the Walla Walla are 4 to 6 inch, and the sweet Spanish are 3 to 6 inches. Yeah, I had to look at my notes to check that. Both are hybrids, and I don't plan to save the seeds, but I wanted to go ahead and use up the seeds that I had this year. Now they're going to germinate in about 7 to 15 days. I cover all of the seeds I sow with a dome to hold in the moisture. And they're going to go out in the garden in about mid-March. After they germinate and I know those seeds are viable, I'll share my extra seeds with the community. I'll put them out there on that community shelf. Boy, it's cold. Thank you for visiting our garden and our grow room. See you later. Bye-bye.